What's up, Spurs fans? Welcome back to another episode of GSG Nation. And I gotta tell you, it has been one heck of a week to be a Spurs fan. We've had some good wins, and we fall last night to the Los Angeles Clippers, 113-104, and that was, I gotta tell you, that was a disheartening loss. And no excuses for us losing that game there. And we're gonna go over that a little bit later today. But as I mentioned, it has been an exciting week to be a Spurs fan, though. We did get a 2-game win streak, and that was good because we did see some good basketball during that 2-game win streak. Took care of business against the Utah Jazz, a lower level team in the standings, and we went into Utah and blew those guys out. So we did what we were supposed to do. We played good basketball. We blew out a lower level team. And things could have been a lot worse. It could have been a close game, and we could have lost that game, but we didn't. Spurs came out on top. Following that, we follow it up with a good home win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I mean that was a good win for us. We were able to fight off a comeback from the team, and again, we took care of business of a tired team. Exactly what we wanted this team to do, exactly what we're supposed to do in these situations when we're playing teams on the end of a back-to-back. So good job, Spurs. Good basketball in those 2 games. Really liked what we saw. And then Monday. Monday comes and everybody's excited. We have a great chance against the Los Angeles Clippers, right? I mean, they haven't won at home at Intuit Dome. And certainly momentum is in our favor because we're just coming off of back-to-back wins. So certainly, and then on paper, it looks to see that we have the better team, especially our bench. We have a better bench. Where Los Angeles Clippers are not a big team, so it's usually the big teams that, really give us problems, and they're not one of those teams. So, man, just before the game, just a lot of good things, are on the Spurs side to enter that game. And just to lose in that fashion, wow. Disheartening. And it was tough to wake up the following morning. I gotta tell you, it was tough. Just sucked the life out of me. And I hate those late games in LA. It's exhausting. It's exhausting just waiting for the game alone itself. I have a hard time just even making it to tip off. And then, we start that game so hot with a 40-point first quarter. I loved it. We saw some really good things from our starting lineup in that first quarter. And if we're going to see that continue, we're going to be in a good spot for this team. This team's going to be in a good spot going forward. We're already making progress. Yes, we are making progress, even though we did lose that game. And then, not only did we blow a 26-point lead, we lose Jeremy Sochan for who knows how long. Injury report has not come out yet at the time of this recording, so we have still yet to find out what the problem is with Jeremy Sochan's hand. It looked like it was a thumb problem on his non-shooting hand, so his left thumb. That's good there. At least we don't have to worry about the shooting hand being messed up. So hopefully, best case scenario, even if it was like a little injury, I expect him to be out obviously the rest of this week. But hopefully it's just a maximum of 2 weeks. But this is a huge, huge blow to the San Antonio Spurs. Jeremy Sochan has been a most improved player candidate for this team. He is one of the few that has been consistent for this team. And he's our biggest and best rebounder that we have. Last night was evident in how much Jeremy Sochan is important to this team and how vital he's going to be in the success of this team in the future. We are missing a big piece when he's out. And when he comes off the court and he's subbed out, it's even evident then, we need another rebounder. When it's just Wemby and shooting guards, point guards, and small forwards, we don't have any rebounders. We have 5 guys standing around the 3-point line. And if Wemby's the one taking the 3-point and missing, we have no rebounders. Then they have 5 guys down low ready to get the rebound. And you know, Jeremy Sochan just plays a huge, huge piece to this team. We're finally seeing his true role with Chris Paul as the point guard. Um, the game against Minnesota, guys, the passes that Chris Paul was making to Jeremy Sochan, incredible. I mean, obviously, only a point guard of that caliber is going to be able to make those type of passes to Jeremy Sochan. And the connection that we saw with those two against Minnesota, I mean, that's what we need for this team to be successful. And that's the type of role that Sochan's going to play. He's just going to a hard screen and cut to the basket. Chris Paul was able to find him in those cuts, those rolls to the basket. And it was just like, wow. Like, we're really seeing them connect, and this is a good thing. And then not only are we seeing Chris Paul and Jeremy Sochan connect, we're seeing Jeremy Sochan and Victor Wembanyama connecting together. There was a play last night against the Clippers where Victor Wembanyama threw it up to Mamu for what, should have been a dunk if Mamu had, better hops. But Mamu laid it up and he did miss it. But it was a connection that we've seen with Wemby and Sochan that's worked, where Wemby's able to toss it up and Sochan does have the hops that he's actually able to finish with the dunk. So, when Jeremy Sochan's out, we're missing that. He's connecting with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. So he's definitely has a place in the starting lineup on this team. He absolutely pairs well with Victor Wembanyama. He not only helps Victor Wembanyama on defense, he helps him on the boards. This allows Wemby to be able to play outside of the paint area, to be able to jack up those threes, and us not worry about like, oh dang, if he's gonna miss it, like who's gonna rebound? Like, no, Jeremy Sochan's gonna rebound it. And if he's not, the thing is Jeremy Sochan is able to get his hand on those loose balls, which helps us with second chance points. It at least prevents the other team from getting a clean rebound and being able to make a run at the other end. So just his energy, his hustle, those type of plays are, it's giving us those second chance points. It's allowing us to be competitive. And I know we're going to miss Sochan while he's out, and we're all going to see it. It's going to be very noticeable. It's going to be a different team when Jeremy Sochan's out. And I'm actually not sure who's going to be in the starting lineup now. Do we put Zach Collins in the starting lineup with Wemby? Do we just start Keldon? I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens against the Rockets on Wednesday, November 6th. But I'm telling you right now, we are absolutely going to miss Jeremy Sochan. He's been a great piece for us this season. He's been so consistent. He's passed up a couple of open threes, but at the same time, like, he's not missing too many threes. He has made more threes than most of us have expected. And the thing is that he is trying to do some different post moves. I do see him driving into the paint and attempting a turnaround jumper. I do want him to continue working on that move, because that could be one of his go-to moves if he gets the touchdown. If he gets his touch around the rim, that could absolutely be a go-to move against smaller defenders. Honestly, every time he does that turnaround jumper in the paint, I always feel like there's a great chance of it going in. There's always a great chance of it going in, and he's not getting his shot blocked either, so he's getting a good look. And as long as he continues to work on that move, the touch should come. So, I personally love what I'm seeing from Jeremy Sochan this season. It's exactly what I envisioned his role being coming into the season. And, he's just doing a really good job. I'm really impressed. Spurs fans at the Frost Bank Center are really impressed with him as well. If you go back to the previous episodes, you'll hear some fan interviews of their thoughts on Jeremy Sochan, what they expect from him this season, and what they've seen so far, and that he has made improvements. So we are really excited for him. This is good stuff from what we're seeing. Let's just pray that he's not out for long, because we need him, and we need him bad, especially against the Rockets, a rival team. You want a dog like Sochan, an enforcer, somebody to get under their skin, and just somebody to be tough and defend the team and just really lead us in that physicality. We're going to miss that tomorrow. So Spurs, let's try to get this win for Sochan. Let's do it for Pop. Let's do it for Sochan. And let's just do it for each other. Do it for you guys, man. You guys deserve a win. But battle hard. Let's play competitive ball. That's what we really want to see. And honestly, if we can be competitive and keep it close, we have a great chance of beating the Rockets. I mean, we are a better team than the Rockets. We've seen it. The game that we lost against them, that was a fluke. That was because our first and second unit just weren't in sync that game. And we barely lost that game, and there was a defensive breakdown at the end that killed us with that Fred VanVleet 3. But, they barely won, and it was just little tiny mistakes that we tightened that up a little bit. We beat them. We're ahead of the Rockets 2-0 to start the season. But clearly, we are the better team. It's obvious when we play. Even in that loss, we still look like the better team. Another player that I want to talk about and just give a huge shout out to is Keldon Johnson. Especially, I know he's had a couple of defensive breakdowns, and he had a defensive breakdown in that Rockets loss. But he has contributed to our wins and especially to our offense. I mean, this guy is finally finishing at the rim. And this is something that we weren't seeing last season. We were seeing him drive it to the basket and, drive it strong, but he was never finishing. This year is a completely different story. I love it. It's been good for us, and it's something that, Keldon, please be consistent in. Continue to drive to the basket right now, because you have the touch. He's finishing at the rim. And something, he's getting more calls than he was last year. So this is really good stuff that we're seeing from Keldon. If we're going to be a competitive team, this is the type of play that we need to see from him night in and night out. Just consistently, if you're going to finish at the rim, man, I'm totally on board with you at continuously attacking the basket. And especially against that game against Minnesota. Guys, he was taking it to Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year in 2023. The whole game, constantly just attacking the rim, attacking Rudy, and still finishing it. It was incredible. It was beautiful to see. We would have got a lot more wins last season if he was finishing at the rim. But, it's good that he's doing it now. So there has been improvement there. He has improved offensively. And even with the defensive breakdowns where he overhelps, I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't understand it. He's always overhelping on defense, and it just doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, at this point, it's like, dude, you're not helping anybody. At this point, if you're worried about your teammate getting burned on defense, just let him get burned. Because you helping out is just hurting our defense, that I'd rather your teammate just get burned one-on-one and with no help. I'd prefer that. I think we all would. So, but defensively, though, he's made improvements. And actually, what I was kind of noticing is if we want to get him to stop helping out on the defensive side, on the help side, and over-helping, like, let's put him on the ball. Because I will say that this season, I've been impressed. And it's what I expected if he was going to drop, a lot of weight. He's been keeping in front of his man more, mainly on ball, guarding on ball. He has been able to stay in front of his man and cut off those drives to the basket. It's been really helpful, and it's been good. He has been part of our good defensive plays, even with the defensive breakdowns. He's still committed on the defensive end, team defense wise. And I will say he has very much improved on the defensive end. So we're barely in the start of the season. not even 10 games in. Let's see if he can make those defensive improvements. I mean, I don't know if he's not watching film, if they're not making him watch enough film, but like, yeah, I mean, those defensive errors are just easy to fix. It's like, yo, just watch the film, know the defense, know where you're supposed to be, and just stop over helping. Like, instead of helping, like, deny ball, brother. Deny ball. Hopefully he gets that together. Like I said, it's early in the season and there's plenty of time to figure it out. I have faith in him. He's shown us that he's improved. He's shown us that he can get better. The 3-ball, we want to see improvement at the 3-ball. I will say I think he has shot better to start the season than he did in prior season from the 3-ball. I have seen him hit some big shots from the 3. Obviously, we've seen him miss some bad shots too from the 3, but it's kind of 50-50 right now. So let's see if we can make that consistent. He's getting open looks. So, I just want him to shoot confidently, and let's see if that leads to made baskets. And if not, we got some discussions to make. But I'm going to have full faith in him, and we're going to be rooting for him. All right, next up, we got Chris Paul, who in our wins was playing great for us. This is the type of Chris Paul that we need to see. We need to see an aggressive Chris Paul. Chris Paul that's manipulating the defense, attacking the basket, shooting his mid-range jumper. Hell, he's even making 3-pointers for us, man. Like, this is good stuff that we've been seeing from Chris Paul in our wins. Last night's showing against the Clippers, still ended up with a double-double, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. But it just felt like in the moments that we really needed him, like in that fourth quarter, him and Harrison Barnes just didn't show up as our vets and just couldn't get it going for us. Very disappointing to see, very tough to watch. But, Chris Paul, like, if we're going to be successful, he's shown us the type of play that he needs to play in order for us to get wins this season. And, yeah, like, in the first couple of games, I wasn't sure why he was so hesitant to get it going. Maybe just, filling out his new teammates and just kind of what the role he wants to play on this team. But I think he realized, like, okay, I really am going to need to lead and, really kind of just take control. And I think that's what we saw in those wins. So, Chris Paul, keep attacking, man. We need you to manipulate that D and, like, find your shots too. That's what we need. Like, we need you to find your shots. That way, make the defense play defense on you as well. Become a threat. That way, we can just open up we can open up another spot for a score and just, lessen those double teams. Another player that was good in our wins was Harrison Barnes, but again, last night against the Clippers, not showing up for us. We're gonna need our vets to be consistent as well. Especially when our offense is just stagnant. We got nothing going for us. We're just running and gunning, and nothing's falling. Like, we really need our vets to, figure it out and make contributions into getting us back in our game and getting us the momentum back. But in our wins, he had good showing. So this is just, in order for us to win, we're going to need our vets to play well. And that's what we want. We don't want them to defer. Like, no, we want you guys to be part of the team. Like, integrate yourselves into our system. Show our guys what it takes to win. Bring that winning culture to the team. And last night, was an opportunity for them to do that. And, just kind of fell short on that opportunity there. But hopefully we don't get any more of those. And if we do, hopefully it's not too much. Because, I got to tell you, it was just really disheartening, that loss, man. I don't want to think about it anymore. Gosh. Julian Champagnie, shout out to him. Had a great night against the Clippers. 21 points. He was 5 of 10 from the 3-point line, and he was hot in the beginning. Let me tell you, man, that guy was on fire in the beginning, and we kept feeding the hot hand, and I was glad he kept shooting. I still got to break down his shot more, but it feels like when he like flicks his wrist, a little bit more, and like you can really notice that flick of the wrist. I feel like that's when his shot has a great chance of going in. I just feel like that just puts the finishing touch on a shot. Is just really flicking his wrist, and the ball just looks good when it's coming out of his hands like that. So I still got to break down his shot more and see, because there's times where like you could tell he's shooting it, and it's like, okay, you didn't put enough leg in that, or yeah, like you didn't fully extend your arm and get that flick of the wrist in like you normally do on those shots that, yeah, when you're on fire, like, man, you could just really tell he's got his legs in it, and his full extension was just with that flick of the wrist. Some good stuff. We saw some good stuff from him last night. He ended the night with 21 points, and that's the type of contributions that we're going to need from him in order to be successful. This is the type of shooting that I expected from him at the start of the season, because watching him in preseason, he was just very confident, very, very confident in his shot. So I thought that was going to stay, and I thought it was going to be consistent to start the season, and it's yet to be that. But I think that if we move him to the bench, which is still, it's not a bad thing. It's not a diss on his play, but if we move him to the bench, I really think he could be extremely successful there. And obviously him being successful will just make the team successful, and we'll see more wins from it, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens there. And let's go ahead and talk about Victor Wembanyama. Against the Clippers, ends the night with 24 points, 13 rebounds. So a nice double-double with 9 blocks. We were on a triple-double watch. And unfortunately, again, we just fell short. Earlier in the week against Minnesota, he had a 5-by-5 game. Was that against Minnesota? Let me check. Yes, against Minnesota, he had another 5-by-5 game. So we've seen some good play from him. And this is crazy because, us fans, we're not satisfied. Like, from what we're seeing, we're just not satisfied yet. And yet he's putting up good numbers, like crazy numbers here. We have these expectations on Wemby because of his size, and we all want him to play down low. I do too. Like, I'm like, dude, you're just use your size. We're not trying to like limit your style of play, but just use your size to get your rhythm going. Like, just get a rhythm going. And then, bro, we're all on board for you doing all the other fancy stuff. We're all on board for you taking as many threes as you want. But just in our eyes, and we're just fans here who love our team. We think that maybe you could find a rhythm down low and just start there early on in the game and then work your way out towards the perimeter. Look, if Wemby's going to tell me, though, that three-pointers are going to be part of his game, that's what he wants to do. If they want him to face the basket more and not have his back to the basket more, then I'm just going to accept it, okay? And we're going to have to accept that that's how he's going to play. He's still very raw, and he doesn't have any go-to moves. So, we just don't know what to expect from him. But that's the unique thing about him. That's what makes him an alien, is just we don't know, like, nothing about you, dog. There's just no data out there. We don't know what you're capable of. We see flashes, and, even then we're still trying to comprehend, like, how did you do that? And then we're asking, like, well, wait, can't you do more of that? Can't you keep doing that? I think right now, look, we just got to be patient. And if he's telling us what his game is ahead of time, then I guess, we just got to accept it and be patient with it. Let it develop. Again, he's only 20 years old. It's his sophomore season. A lot of players have a fall off in their sophomore season. I don't think he's having a fall off right now. I don't think that he will either. But being very young and, not even coming from a college system, just playing a different style of basketball out in France, I think that he still has a lot to develop in his game. And he it seems like he was just never able to develop a go-to move, like just one go-to move. Um, but that's okay. It's not to say that he can't develop that. It's not to say that we're running out of time. There's no rush. Like, we don't need to freak out. He has a lot of time to figure it out. And again, that championship's not going anywhere. It's always going to be there. It's only Wemby's sophomore year, so we still have time. Like, there's no rush. And but I do feel that he's my favorite player. So look, I'm gonna criticize the guy anytime that I feel that he can do better, or if I see something that, like, yo, it's not working, and maybe you should try this. Like, yo, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be hard on my favorite player because that's how much I believe in him. Like, I believe that he's gonna get it together. I believe that he's gonna be one of the best players ever. Like, he's just gonna change the game, and he's a Spur, and I believe he's gonna be a Spur for life. And I believe that, yeah, him and Sochan and some of our other core, like, are gonna take us back to the top of the mountain. If I believe in you fully, if I have all the faith in you in the world, and if you're my favorite player, like, you're gonna get the most critique from me. There's gonna be no excuses. I am not gonna blame the coach. I'm not gonna blame other players for you either having a bad game or just not doing enough. But all this to say, if you hear me criticizing Wemby and critiquing, it's because he's my favorite player, and I have all the faith in the world in him and in this team, and I wouldn't critique them, especially publicly, if I didn't have all the faith in the world in them. So let's see, let's see how the 3-pointers span out. Eventually they have to fall, and because his shot is just too good. He's got great form. There's no problem there. It's just a matter of when they start falling. And he's getting 9 3-pointers a game. Like, these are open looks. Like, everything to him is an open look. Nobody's gonna block his shot. I don't even think that they're really gonna bother it. So his form is too good for these shots to not eventually start falling. So NBA, look out, because I'm telling you, these shots are gonna fall, and y'all are in big trouble when they do, because the Spurs are gonna look so much better once we start making shots. I'm telling you, if we were making shots this season, obviously we'd have a winning record. We'd be high in the standings. We would have saw some more wins. We would have beat the Rockets. Possibly could have held on to beat the Mavs. But if we're hitting our shots, we're talking about a different situation here. People aren't talking about guys getting traded. It's more so like, okay, maybe we give these guys another year to even improve on that. So we'll see. I think the shots will start falling, and if they don't, we're gonna have some tough conversations, but those conversations will be had for sure. And before we go, I want to talk this last part about Stephon Castle, and just, man, we have a dog. We have a dog in Stephon Castle, and this is good. Like, everybody enjoys seeing him play, and I'm telling you, at the games, like when he's subbing in, we're on our feet. We are clapping. We're yelling. We're cheering. We're excited. We're ready for this guy to get more minutes. We've seen incredible ball from him, just alone on the defensive end. And this guy's he's a rookie, and it's like, hey, rookie, welcome to the league. Need you to go out there, and I need you to guard the team's best player. And that's all this guy does. He just guards the best players on the other team. And he's giving these guys trouble as a rookie. His tenacity on defense is, you can't teach that, man. You cannot teach that. That is just instinctual. It's desire. And for us to have a guy, a guard, with size and tenacity like that, It makes for a dangerous player. And we know that his offense needs work, his shooting needs work. But the thing is, what we've been seeing, though, we've been seeing good pull-ups from him. We've been seeing good shot selections from him. And we've been seeing him shoot the ball confidently, even though it hasn't fallen. If he wasn't confident, he wouldn't be taking these shots. He'd be passing them up. But the thing is, he's not. Like, hey, man, if he's open, he's going to take the shot. And what I love, my favorite thing about him is that he drives it to the basket strong. And I got to tell you, the refs are just really, really pissing me off because I know he's a rookie. I know the rookie treatment. We all know it. We all understand it. And we all follow it. But this is crazy to not be calling a foul on him until like pretty much somebody body slams him and lands on him like they're jumping off of the top of the turnbuckle like a wrestler. And then they called the foul. Like, that's crazy. And, you know, we had a scare this past week. It was the Minnesota game. We had a huge scare when they fell on him and he almost hurt his knee. You know, he was grabbing for his knee. I was freaking out at the game. I was just thinking like, no, this is it. This is it. He's out. He got hurt. And luckily that wasn't the situation, thank God. But I'm telling you, like, this is just really upsetting because they're fouling him really hard every single time, and he's not getting the call until like almost on the verge of injury. That's ridiculous. That's unacceptable by the refs. That's just taking the rookie treatment to a whole new level, and they really need to remedy that and fast before somebody gets hurt, because that's just it's going to be very, very sad to see if somebody gets hurt because the refs are taking too long to call fouls and just letting the physicality on the rookies get out of hand. It's just unexcusable. But I got to say, man, Stephon Castle, we got a real one here. Not only was he guarding Anthony Edwards that night against the win against the Timberwolves, he was attacking Anthony Edwards, y'all. And the thing is that Anthony Edwards prides himself in defense. He loves playing defense. So for Stephon Castle to be like, all right, you know what? You're going to take it to that level. I'll take it up to that next level too. And just fearlessly go after Anthony Edwards. I know he didn't finish, but we were ready to set the roof off if he did finish it. I got to tell you, we were already loud just for the fact that like he didn't back down from Anthony Edwards. And just we were all impressed with the defense that he plays night in and night out. And the aggressiveness on the offensive end. That's my favorite part. Just him driving to the basket strong. He's a strong finisher. He's going to get the touch. So, you know, I expect like next year in his sophomore season to finish more of these at the rim. I expect him to finish more throughout this season. I really think we'll see progression there with his touch around the rim this season. But the fact that he can drive it hard, take a foul, potentially finish. He can dunk it as a point guard, combo guard, whatever. The fact that we have a guy that's that strong and fearless, that's going to do wonders for us. Really exciting stuff from him. Just keep it up, man. All right, Spurs fans, that's all for today's episode. We are back at the Frostbank Center. We are back with fan interviews Thursday against the Trailblazers. And then Monday against the Sacramento Kings at the Frostbank Center. Make sure to catch us there. If you see us, stop by, say hello. Let's get you on the mic. Let's get you, the Spurs fans' voice out there, because that's what this is all about. I'm really excited to interview more fans again. We got an equipment upgrade. New mics are on the way. Excited to use the new equipment at the game. So let's go, man. Let's get a W, Spurs. Let's do it for Pop. Pop, we're wishing you the best, man. Rest up. Get better. Take care of yourself. Don't worry about the team. Worry about your health. We got you. You know, us fans, most importantly, we want to see you healthy. And so prayers out to Pop and Sochan. Get better. Folks, thanks for joining me today. Be sure to keep up with GSG Nation on X at GSG Nation Talk, on Instagram and TikTok at GSG Nation. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube at GSG Nation. And we'll catch you at the Frostbank Center at the next one. Till then, go Spurs, go!